Hey guys, ECRG here, and today we're going to talk about workplace phone etiquette. Hey guys, ECRG here, and today we're going to do a video on workplace phone etiquette. And I thought this was an interesting video for a couple reasons because most everybody in the clinical research industry, or any industry for that matter, is probably going to have a phone, and they're probably going to use that phone to communicate. So I thought that this was a good video to make just so people had a little bit of background on etiquette when using the phone, if they are in office or out of office. Obviously, the rules and regulations are going to be slightly different if you are at your home office or you have your own personal office at your job versus if you're in the cubicle on the floor where you're in earshot of other people. So let's keep that in mind as we go through this video. And I hope you guys enjoy this one. So basically, some rules to live by are: you don't want to talk about somebody while they are in earshot of you, and that's because obviously they can hear what you're saying. You're not just talking to the person on the other line. You're talking to people around you. They can hear what you're saying. They can understand what your conversation is. So I would recommend, if you're going to say something that is a little bit controversial, that you probably find a more quieter place to have that phone conversation. Now, particularly at my office, we have taller cubicles, which is nice. So when people talk, it's not like they're talking directly to you. They're in their own little space, but obviously everyone, in a perimeter, maybe 20 feet around you, can probably hear what you're saying. So that's a good number of people. There are also, some smaller rooms off to the side which aren't used, like conference rooms. They're not used all the time, that you can slide in there and make a phone call if you want to. So that's also good to keep in mind. To know at your office where there's places where you can get some quiet time to make phone calls, work phone calls. It also depends on the culture. If people are always going somewhere else into a conference room whenever they're making phone calls, then that's pretty much what you're going to have to do. If they want the floor to be as quiet as possible so people can focus and concentrate on their work, then that could be something to think about. But as far as the culture at other places, if you're on the phone a lot, they are most likely going to give you some sort of headset to kind of block out the other noise, and you're going to be able to speak directly into the microphone so other people will be able to hear you. So it kind of depends on the culture. Now, I know some places are moving more towards the cubicles that, not necessarily cubicles, but more so like a desk with a little bit of space in between people, just to block off where your desk starts and somebody else begins. And a lot of people aren't liking that because we spend a lot of time on the phone in clinical research, especially if we're, contacting sites, or, we're having meetings or whatever it is, whatever it may be. We don't want to, sit there and literally look at somebody as we're talking, or have them literally look at us. And it could be distracting for both people. And, I don't think that's really good. So if your office is thinking about moving to a desk setup, and really they try and disguise it as saying, it'll be more collaborative. That's a bunch of BS. They're doing that to save money, so they can put more people into a smaller space. So I mean, if the nature of your work is actually collaborative, people are going to collaborate anyway. But in clinical research, we collaborate over long distances, many time zones usually. Like, for example, I've worked on global teams in the past, and the teams are pretty much global. You're gonna have multiple time zones in between people, and that matters. It makes a difference. So that depends if it's going to be how collaborative it's going to be, like in person to person. So and that matters if you are going to be talking to people all the time, how collaborative it is going to be. So you don't want to talk about somebody when they can hear you. Try and find another room. And you want to limit what you're saying about other people in general, because if you're the person on the phone, gossiping all the time, people are going to notice that you gossip all the time. Like I said before, that conversation is not just between you and somebody else. It's with everybody else in the area who can hear you too. Now, a lot of people put headphones in and listen to music, which is good. You have some level of privacy, but that's not always the case everywhere. And you need to keep that in mind if you're going to be saying controversial things. I would also say do not curse, do not use foul language while you're on the phone. Once again, you never know who's listening to your conversation in the area. It could be your boss that's in the area, or it could be your boss's boss. You just never know. And you don't want to take that for granted, even though the conversation is between you and somebody on the phone. Obviously, all of this pretty much goes out the window if you have your own office or you have your own home office. You work from home. In clinical research, a lot of people work from home, and so this is not really a big deal, if you're what you're talking on the phone, what you're saying on the phone. So you definitely want to keep that in mind. And, talk at a reasonable volume if you're in the office in a cubicle. You don't want to be too loud and obnoxious. You don't want to be that person that everyone's like, oh gosh, this person's on the phone again and can't wait for you to get off. So you want to speak at a reasonable volume. Remember that earpiece is right there near your mouth, so you don't have to speak too loud for people to hear you. So keep that in mind. That's pretty much it for the in-office phone etiquette. And just there's really not much here about the phone etiquette. I mean, I think most people understand how to talk on the phone to people. We've been doing it all of our lives, pretty much. The common greetings. Hello, how are you doing? Blah 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 blah. Just kind of look at how other people do it, especially if you're new to a company. You can learn from other people what they do. And usually, if you're going to be talking to somebody like a client, or if you're in clinical research, you're going to be talking to a site, they'll give you a kind of a script to talk to people on, or maybe some bullet points to make sure you cover when you're talking to somebody. So as far as that goes, you just follow the script or follow whatever they give you, and there's not too much variance there. And as you get more experience, then you'll be able to see what works, what doesn't work. So as far as this video, when I meant etiquette, it really refers to the interaction, of yourself on the phone and being noticeable about other people in the area as well, depending on how your company's set up, whether it's a cubicle or everyone has their own office, or people go to the conference room to make phone calls, or maybe you guys have a little telephone booth. I know some companies have that, where you can slide in there and make a few phone calls really fast. So it just depends. Bounce it off the culture. You'll notice the culture when you get to your job, and you'll be able to see what it's like and just mimic that. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. If you have any comments, comment them down below. You can email us at eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com for any business inquiries. You want to be a sponsor of the show, email us there. You will get your name read before and after every episode. Also, you can be a part of our resume review program, and you can find out more information there in our emails. So email us there, eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com. Subscribe, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell. Do it right now. If you haven't done it, go ahead and do it. All right, we're waiting. All right, you did it. Good. All right, guys, that's it. Take care.